Tanrabonin Yisrael Shamad LeLevi. Yisrael says to a Levi, Masi yesh loch biyodi. I have Meiser, which is yours. And Choshel Trumas Maser Shabbat. We're not concerned that the Maser that he has is Trumas Maser, right? We discussed yesterday that a Levi, when he receives the Meiser, he has to take 10%, tithe it of the Meiser, and give it to the Kohen. That 10% is called Trumas Meiser. It's the Truma of the Meiser. It's the tithing of the Meiser. And it assumes what status? It's bona fide Truma. It's as if one would eat Truma, one's liable for Koris, if you're not a Kohen. No. Initially, what you tithe, the original harvest, that's the Yisrael tithing, that's 2%. Now, you take 10%, you give to the Levi. The Levi now, the Torah says take 10% of what he receives and give it to the Kohen. And that 10%, he can't give less than 10%. That 10% says the identical status as the 2% that you took from the total harvest. Okay? So you're not concerned that maybe Trumas Maser. The Gemara will explain what this means. Kur Maser Yeshloch Biyodi, but let's say he gives an exact amount. He tells him the exact measure of Maser which he has. Trumas Maser. Then I'm concerned that maybe the Maser that he has was converted into Trumas Maser, as we explained. The Maser is Chum. It has no holiness. What he tithes takes on a holy status. It becomes Truma. It's like the original grain that he has. It's called Tevel. Tevel has no Kedusha. But when you tithe the Truma assumes the status of Kedusha. The Maisa has no Kedusha. When you take 10% for the Kohen, that 10% assumes the status of Kedusha as Truma. Okay? What?
Why can't you give more?
Because the Torah says it's exactly Meiser. That's what the Torah says. Because it's 10%. That's why you can't give by estimation. It has to be exactly measured out. I mentioned to somebody who was asked me about Chofetz Chaim writes the Torah's Chesed. When you give Meiser for tzedakah, you should, even if we said people should give 20%. If you're a wealthy person, a person should give. It shows from the Rambam it should be 20%. For the ordinary person, it's 10%. For a person who's wealthier, should give 20%. He says, but let's say a person is allowed to give up to 20%, an ordinary person. You should set aside first 10%. And you want to give more afterwards, you give more. Because there's something, and he says in Svar cited, there's something innate in 10%, that number 10 has certain connotations and a certain level of representation. Therefore, it's important to have 10. It's always, 10 is always. What? No, Yiyotze. I mean the second 10%. No, it's not my. It's not my. Okay. Somewhere says my Komer. What is being said over here? Omer Abaye Hochimar. Yisrael Shama Levi Masi Yeshloch Biyodi. A Yisrael says to a Levi, I have Maser which is yours, and I want to purchase it from you. The Maser that I have, I want to purchase from you. Vehelach Domov. And he says to the Levi, and take the money. And the Levi takes the money. Okay? So now that, before the Levi takes the money, if the Levi would have Maser in his possession, other Maser, and he'd want to, and he has an obligation to take Trumas Maser, and he wants to use the Maser, which is in the possession of the Jew, the Israel, which is he has his Maser, he says that Maser should be Trumas Maser for the Maser that I have. He could do such a thing, correct? It's like you have 2 piles of wheat. Neither have been tithed. And I said I want to take the truma from pile B for pile A. It's valid. It's a valid tithing. And then pile A, you no longer have an obligation to take truma because you're obligated to tithe both piles, right? So that's called chiv ala chiyuv. You have an obligation on both of them, so you can take from one on the other.
That's right. Yeah. After the Levi take money for that.
Wait. You're right. Hold it. The Gemara is going to ask the question in a moment. If he did it. He did it. The Levi. Let's say before he took the money. Let's say he would say that. Unbeknown to the Jew, to the Yisrael, to the Jew. And he said, the Meiser that the Jew has, the Yisrael has, should be the Trumas Maser for my Meiser. So that means the Meiser, which the Yisrael believes is Meiser, he actually is in possession of Trumas Meiser. So now let's say he buys it. He buys it. And he believes what's he purchasing? He's purchasing Meiser. So what does he do? He's going to take off 10%, which he believes the Levi should have done, would have to do if he would have given to him. But factually it's meaningless. Because he doesn't realize what he has in his possession is all Trumas Meiser. Right? So when is the concern maybe the Levi did such a thing? If the Levi knew the amount. If he says, I have a core Meiser. A core is a certain specific amount, measure. So therefore the Levi can make a calculation of what he could do there. But let's say he just says, I have Meiser. I have Meiser. He doesn't know how much Meiser he has. So based on estimation, to guess, you can't give Trumas Masa in that way. So therefore, in that case, Yisrael does not be concerned that maybe the Levi had somehow affected the status of the Meiser that he has. Because there's no possibility, right? That's what the Gemara says. Hochi Kamar. Yisrael Shem Levi Masi Yeshloch Biyodi Ve'elu Domov, and take its value. And Choshen Shem also Trumas Meiser. We're not concerned. Maybe he made a Trumas Meiser because he doesn't know what he had. What about he says Al Mokum? But if he says Kur Masi Yeshloch Biyodi, I have a core which is a specific amount, the measure, and I want to purchase it from you. Choshen Shem also Trumas Meiser Al Mokum. We're concerned that maybe the Masa that's in the possession of the Israel, he had made it into Trumas Masa to cover the Masa that he has in his possession. Okay? So Tosas learns Rashi is difficult. It's speaking that before he took the money, before the Israel gave the money, what's his name? He actually caused this to happen. Right? He says, I want to buy it from you. And he didn't send them, and the money didn't arrive yet by the Levi. At that moment, the Levi says, you know something? I'm going to preempt the problem. Let the Meiser in the possession of the let there be the Trumas Masa for what I have. Then he'll take the money. Okay? I mean, he's doing something which is illegal.
Yeah.
But we have to. Who knows? You never know what goes on in a person's mind. Right? If he doesn't know the amount, it's not possible. But here we do. He knows the amount. He may have done such a thing. I mean, the Gemara is against the question. Are we talking about people or Rishoyim? The Shakli Domi Mashli Trumas Masa. You took money for it. You took money. How do you go turn into Trumas Masa? Right? So it means if you're going to take money for it, how before you take the money, how can you take money for something that you have no right to take money for? That's the Gemara's question. It's not true. How do you make truma normally? How do you make truma? Let's see. No, you don't even have separated. Right? You say the northern side should be truma. It's truma. Right? That's how do you consecrate something? Dibor. It's a verbal consecration.
But doesn't the Levi have to give that Trumas Meiser to the Kohen?
No.
Work? So the Levi separates that 10%. What does he do with it? He has to
No. Well, normally he would give it, but he doesn't have it. The Yisrael has it.
But
He's worried about one thing. He doesn't want to eat tevel. The Levi doesn't want to eat tevel. If he eats the meiser without taking Trumas Meiser, he's eating tevel.
Right.
So once he gets that out of the way, did he do the mitzvah giving it? Let the Yisrael worry about it. Right? That's the way people are.
It's not physically separated. You can just write a check for its value.
No. It has to be designated as Trumas Meiser. He doesn't know. No, what he'll take Trumas Meiser, he'll take 10%, and he'll eat the rest. But in actuality, what is he eating? He's actually eating Trumas Meiser. That's what he's eating. Even the balance is Trumas Meiser. Because the Levi had used the full amount to cover his obligation. It's Koresh. He's eating Tevel. No, the more he's eating Trumas Meiser. The whole thing is Truma. The Yisrael's eating Truma. That's what he's eating, believing that it's Chulin. Okay? Somewhere says that can't be. I mean, you have to be concerned for people behaving this way. A person has to be really, truly a Russia to do such a thing. Elomer of Meshashia, what does it say in the Braiso? Omer of Meshashia Breid Ravidi Hochi Komer. This was Yisrael She'omar Leben Levi. Maselo Vicho biyodi. Your father had meiser in my possession. Heler domov. Okay? I'd like to purchase it from you. Right? You inherit. It was your father's, you're inheriting it. I would like to purchase it from you. Now the question is, but maybe the father, not the father took money and he turned it into Trumas Meiser. When his father knew that the Meiser was in the possession of the Yisrael, he may have used that Meiser as Trumas Meiser on the Meiser that he had. His father may have made the conversion. The son knows nothing. The son knows nothing over here, right? He comes to the son says, I'd like to purchase. The son says, fine. Happy to take the money for it. So, but there's a question. Maybe your father, unbeknown to you, had converted that Meiser to Trumas Meiser. Right? Do we have to be concerned? And therefore the Yisrael cannot sell it. Should not sell it to the son. Should not purchase it from the son. Because the son, not knowing what the reality is, he may actually be selling Trumas Meiser. Because the father may have made the conversion to Trumas Meiser. That's the way the Gemara is answering it. Following. If a person goes to the person himself, we say, Oto b'shiaskino. How do you take money for something that which is Trumas Meiser? Here, the son knows nothing. A Yisrael goes to the son who's innocent, says, your father's Meiser by me, I'd like to purchase it. The son says, fine. His father never shared anything with him, purchase it. So we say, if the amount is unknown, was unknown initially to the father, it's not a problem. He doesn't know it's a core. Doesn't know. Right? It's an open number. No problem. Because the father couldn't have done anything. But if it was a specific amount, then this transaction should not take place. Because there's a chance that maybe the father had converted that maser into Trumas Maser, the full amount. Because it was rightfully his. The whole maser was rightfully his. He did nothing wrong.
What's the difference between the father case and the case we just had?
No, because the case we just had now, the maser was meant to go to the son. New grain, new crop.
Right.
He has a relationship with the son.
Right.
And he says, I'd like to purchase the maser from you.
Right.
So before he takes the money, he converts the full, and he knows the amount, he converts the full amount into Trumas Meiser. Okay. And then he takes him the money. He said, it's not possible. Right. Are we talking about Rishoyim? Right? Okay. So the Gemara changes the case. We're talking about the Yisrael goes to the son. He says, your father has Meiser 2 years ago, had Meiser, I'd like to purchase it from you. Right? The father never took money from it. The father I didn't deliver it yet. And your father was aware of it. Your father was aware of it. So we say, if the quantity is an unknown quantity, and now this Yisrael wants to purchase it from the son who's the heir, not a problem. Because there's no chance that maser could be Trumas Maser. And who's going to take Trumas Maser? The Yisrael will take Trumas Maser if he purchases it. But if it was a known quantity, the core, we have to suspect there's a possibility maybe the father, and he had a right to do it, took that maser, which was rightfully his, he converted the total maser to Trumas Maser. You following it?
I'll give you now, but what can the son do with it? If it's known as a coup, father could still...
That's Tosa's question. Tosa says, what do we have to talk? He purchased it, right? The son. Let's suspect that the father had maybe converted into Trumas Maser, and now the son, what he's receiving is Trumas Maser. He can't eat it. We'll see Tosa's. Moshe went to sleep 10 minutes earlier last night. See that? So I knew it. Okay? What are you asking me?
By creating this case,
we're not talking about Russia. Nobody did anything with illegal. There's nothing illegal going on over here, right? But the Gemara is going to ask a question. If that is what happened, well, that's what I'm concerned. The father did something which is illegal. No. Because we'll see. Because there's halach and mukaf that when you tithe from one thing on the other, all the grain has to be in one location. So we're saying now the grain that was in the possession of the Yisrael, which was maser, he had used that to cover the maser that he has in his possession. But it all has to be in one location. We'll see whether it's the Raisa Drabanan. It's called mukaf. It all has to be. So how can we? If the father is a upright Jew, he'd do such a thing. So if that's the case, even if it's a known quantity, it shouldn't be a problem. Because that the father may have done that, because it's illegal.
Right, because it all has to be in one place, you're saying.
Yes, so therefore, what's the concern? There shouldn't be a concern. That's next tomorrow's question. Okay? Baruch Hashem, everybody's asking the next question. Everybody's on track. One second. Trumas masa kur masa yovicha biyodi ve'eldom choshi shem also ovik trumas masa mokom acher. So more asks a question. Chinechtu chaverim litrum shlomin amukav. A chaverim, are they suspect that when they tithe the grain where all the grain is not in one location? It's an isser. Rashi learns in this Rabban Tosa says nisda raisa. Is it a Torah violation or is it a rabbinic violation? Rashi learns it's Rabbanan. Okay, we'll see Rashi in a moment. But still, if the status of the father is chaver, which is a certain status, so if that's the case, how can we suspect? So if that's the case, even if it's a known quantity, the Yisrael should be able to purchase it, and there's nothing to be concerned about. Let's take a look at Rashi. Shlomin Mukaf. You know, a walled city is called Mukaf Choma. Right? It's encircled. The Gemara says in Be'ah, which we had many years ago, we studied it here, that if a person wants to take two barrels, put them next to one another, and in between he makes a fire, and he puts the pot on top of the two barrels, and that's what he's cooking. Yom Tov is not permitted because of binyan, rabbinical, because he's creating walls, and he puts by covering it, he's putting a cover on top of both barrels. So you're not permitted. It says, Eim akifin chavuyos. You can't bring the barrels next to one another close enough to put the pot on top. So the word used in the Gemara is makifin. Lakif means to bring them close to one another. So over here, you're not permitted to tie if it's not min mukaf. Mukaf means they're not close to, they're not in the proximity of one another. Okay, we'll see Rashi. Okay. Mukaf somuch kmo im makif shtei chavios os lechaber lomar tvua oser lechaber tvua lomar tvua sheyesh li b'mokom ploni teitruma alzu. That's shlomin mukaf. You're not permitted to do it, to say that. Why? Shem o sesho eino ben b'mosa osur. Because the question is, yesterday was there. Maybe today it's not there. What happens factually? You say the truma, that the grain of that location should be truma for the grain and a half here. So he's going to rely on that. And what? He considers it tithe. He's going to eat it. What happens? That truma may not be there. That grain may not be there. So if the grain's not there, that means he never tithed it. So what is he going to end up eating? He's going to end up eating tevel. So it's a rabbinic fence that whenever you tithe, whatever is being affected should be in your presence. It should not be elsewhere. So if he's a chaver, he says, but the evidence is valid. But the evidence is valid. If he did it even though it wasn't there, because there's a chazokah, there's a presumption. Right? The presumption is, if it was there yesterday, it's probably still there. But l'chatchila, it's something should not be done. Same thing. Same thing. Doesn't make a difference. Whatever is associated, whatever is, it all has to be in the same location. And Mitosis is going to say, because mukaf doesn't mean it's elsewhere. Even if it's, let's say, in two rooms, or in the same room, two locations in the same room. So you're aware that they're both here. That's not min mukaf. They have to literally be touching one another. That's what a woman, if you ever see a woman take challah, what does she do? And let's say she has different pans. And she takes challah, she tithes the dough. The one tithing is for all the baked goods, all the dough that she's baking. What does she do? She takes usually a towel, covers them over, so that connects all of them. That's considered min hamukaf, or the oven. Putting it all in the oven, taking it out of the oven, that's min hamukaf. Or the basket, the same thing, but that's the idea. It wants to be literally in the same location, or the equivalent of touching one another. Rashi is learning not this way, because there's a concern. Maybe you may believe it's there, but it may not be there. It's interesting. I mentioned a few days ago some sofa. The Gemara says that in terms of, the Mishnah said before that if a person sends a get through an agent, through a shliach, even if he's choler, he's not well, based on the principle of chazokah, of cheskes chai, there's a presumption he was alive then, he's still alive, and the get could be given, the woman's permitted to remarry. Then it says that a person who had an arrangement with a Kohen, Levi Yisrael, regarding taking truma as payment for the loan, right? So he's permitted to rely on chazokah that he's still alive, right? The Mishnah on the first side of the page, so the Chassam Sofer asks. I mean, if for Eishes Ish we're not concerned, we rely on chazokah, right? So for being able to take truma as payment of the debt, we're not going to rely on chazokah, right? No question we're relying on chazokah. So he says, no, there's a difference. Because there, we're dealing with aguna. If you're not going to rely on chazokah, no woman will be able to. Really, it's drabanan. We prefer not to.
What's rabbanan?
No, which means the reason not to would be rabbinically, not to rely on chazokah. That would be rabbinical. So regarding a get, we have no choice. And whenever a person sends a get, we can say, well, it's possible he may have died. On a Torah level, not, but rabbinically we should machmir. So if that's the case, how could a woman ever remarry? Right? So that it's a situation which is going to be an untenable situation. Therefore, to make this arrangement with the Kohen, you should be able to take truma for the loan as payment of the loan. Maybe we should be machmir that unless you definitely know he's alive, you can't take the truma on his behalf. And that the Mishnah says no. We do rely on Chazal. Chazal did not make a special enactment for that particular situation. Right? It's a chumrah. But what is it? It's the same thing over here. This Rashi is learning similar. That's min hamukaf. Since there's a chance it may not be there, even on a Torah level, this chazokah, it's better you should know. Because there's a chance it may not be. Right? It's the same type of, but it's all Rashi, it's rabbinical. Tosas over here. Third Tosas from the bottom. Litrom shlom min hamukaf. Maybe at that moment it didn't exist. Tosas rejects it. The truma gedola midoraisa boy mukaf. Truma gedola, when you tie the truma, that's a doraisa. It's not a drabonon. Afilu shteim lefonov. So even if both piles would be formed visually, sees both, they both are in place. Midoraisa be touching one another. That's considered shlom and mukaf. Now, he says that truma gedola is the first tithing of truma. The truma that the Levi takes from the master is called trumas maser. It's 10%. But trumas maser nami lo bina mukaf elo midrabanan. Trumas maser is drabanan. Okay? We'll see. Wait. Nireh hainu bishum gzeira or to truma gedola. Truma gedola is the doraisa that if it's not in one location, it's a Torah violation to tithe. The evidence is valid, but it's a Torah violation. So the trumas maser is truma too. It has the identical status. So if you allow a person to take trumas maser shlo min hamukaf, how do you think a person is going to tithe truma gedola? It's the end result is the identical status. They're both truma, correct? If a non-Kohen eats it, it's koris. If it's eaten betuma, it's koris. Well, right? These are the shamayim. So if that's the case, if you allow one not to be b'mukaf, the other one's not going to be mukaf either. Therefore, as a gzeira, we treat them all the same. That even the trumas maser needs min hamukaf midrabanan, but it's not because it may not exist. Ubin hamukaf afilu shteihem lefonov kamo truma gedola, as we say by truma gedola. Even they both exist. They have to actually be touching one another. But he said, but that's talocha. V'gabi chala nami tanan mukaf afilu shteihem lefonov. You tied bread also. And it says, he's quoting a Mishnah, it says, afilu shneim lefonov bina mukaf. According to Rashi, what do you need mukaf? So you say, Rashi say, it's a gzera l'gzera. You say, well, maybe the reason is because it's elsewhere. But elsewhere, it has no relevance to it. Here, if the whole issue is you don't know it exists, here, you know it exists. It's right before you. So what if physically they're not touching? It's not really relevant. So clearly, Rashi is very difficult over here. Okay? For Truma Gedol, that's Doraisa. It's based on a pasuk. There's no pasuk, but because the end result is identical, they're both Truma. So if you allow one to be not, No, there's no pasuk. The tithing is a Torah obligation. But the mukaf, that has to be taken the mukaf, that's rabbinical.
But that only
The Torah says the Levi has to give 10%, and that's called Trumas Maser. It's the Truma of the Maser. Now, how do you tithe it? That's the question. How do you tithe it? Whatever you're tithing and you're affecting, does it all have to be touching? Right? That's rabbinical by Trumas Maser. When the Levi tithes is Maser. But initially, when you have the original harvest, and you have to take the first Truma, that's called Truma Gedola, it's the first Truma. That's a Doraisa. But if you allow the second Truma by the Maser to be Shlomin Mukaf, they're both identical. The end result is they're both Truma, they have the exact same status. Because there's no Pasuk. The Gzeres HaKosa of Mukaf is only by Truma Gedola. That's the Pasuk. It doesn't go beyond that point. So therefore they created a rabbinic fence that if you allow the second case to be Shlomin Mukaf, it's the first people aren't going to take the first case from Min Mukaf. He had maaseh from other people.
Right, and he's got, so this file, which is not anywhere near that,
Right.
he could have pledged it as
Trumas maaseh to cover the maaseh.
some Kohen coming along and say, hey, that's mine.
No, just as a Kohen can go to Yisrael and say, I want that Truma. The Levi to the Trumas maaseh is like the Yisrael to the Truma. I can choose which Kohen. The Levi creating that Trumas maaseh, he says, I picked the Kohen. No Kohen come to me and dictate that he wants it.
The concern is that he designated it, he just hasn't designated it.
No, he designated it as Truma.
Or
Truma, whatever it is. He didn't even think about it. Try, he knows nothing. The man knows nothing. He designated it as Truma. Okay? Okay? So Tosas, what Moshe asked before, the Gemara says it's the father and the son now. So what do we have to talk about? He paid for it. He wants to purchase it. If there's a concern that maybe the father converted the maser into Trumas maser, so how does the son take, and where the father knew the exact amount, how does the son now receive the maser from the Yisrael? Maybe the maser is Trumas maser. What do we have to speak about? That the Yisrael, when he purchases it, maybe he thinks it's going to be maser. He's going to tithe it, take 10%, and he'll think the balance is schooling. Forget about purchasing. Yisrael calls up the son, you're an heir of maser, you're welcome to take it, come and get it. And he comes and gets it. So we say, even if it's a core, but if it's core, we have to be concerned. Maybe it's what? Maybe it's all Trumas maser. And the son will do the exact same thing. He'll take 10%, he'll keep the balance for himself, but he may not, because maybe the father had converted all that maser into Trumas maser. That's Tosas' question. Okay, let's see Tosas. Only by a core, because you can't take maser by estimation. That's a specific quantity, right? Maser lovicha biyodi heluch domov. Temo, amayin nokar hashtra heluch domov. What do we have to get involved with the case of that the Yisrael is purchasing it? Take the money and I want it, and now I have to be concerned. Maybe the Yisrael will be eating goat. Amay choshin klal. Why would we suspect for a moment the father had turned into Trumas maser? Right? A person's a chaver and he left over, he never discussed anything with his family, and they find a barrel of fruit. Barrel of fruit. Do they have to be suspect that maybe the father, maybe it's untithed fruit? We say a chaver, the moment he receives, the moment he has tevel, he's a Yisrael. The moment he has tevel in his possession, tithes it immediately. The moment, why? Because he will not take a chance, mistakenly, somebody may partake of that, where it may be tevel. So the moment he has the opportunity to tithe it, he tithes it immediately. Right? If that's the case, how is it possible that maybe the father had converted it to Trumas Maser without informing anybody that it's Trumas Maser. It's not possible. This is not the way a chaver behaves. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he could have died.
No. There's no way initially he wouldn't do such a thing if there's any conceived possibility that somebody may be taking something that's forbidden. It's like, the Thniv and the City Michshol. He's not going to create a menace, right? And by doing that, he's creating a menace. Whether it's for the man or for his son, who's going to be the heir. Leave it as Maser. He leaves it as Maser. And like Yisrael would know, it's untied Meiser. Ve'shloma bedochik. So he says bedochik. The ksovar, the mistama, aviv omalo, imhu mesukam. The presumption is, he's saying there's a dochik. Like when you have nothing better to say, you say this kind of answer. No, there was a person, he was a Rashiv in the Mir many years ago. And he's had exceptional shurim. His name was Rav Nochem. Nochem Partsovitz, he was a son-in-law of Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, Tzarech Levrocha. Partsovitz, famous Mira, Alta Mira. And when he would present a shir, he would take the most difficult concepts and present them in the most lucid way that it was almost difficult to understand what the difficulty was. That's the way he would present it. So he used to say to the Talmidim, not that I ever heard shurim from him, that he used to say, but I remember the students used to say what he used to say. He said that when the Amoraim Tanoim would be shown him, they would say, present a svara. I think they would say what we say, a dochik, right? They would say it in the most elucidated, clear, cogent, compelling, that you're able to grasp what they're saying. So evidently, what they said is not what we're saying. Right? It's due that you really don't understand. Well, I can't say anything better, so maybe don't say. To really say, Shloma bedochik. Dochim is like this one we have to push it. Doesn't go so easily. Shloma bedochik. Somebody once said to Reb Chaim Brisker. Somebody once presented a piece of Torah Reb Chaim Brisker at Reb Chaim, and he didn't explain it well. See, he said to Reb Chaim, I know what I want to say, I can't explain it. So Reb Chaim says, if you really understood it, you could explain it. And if you can't explain it, that means you truly don't understand it well enough. That's what he said to him. Okay. See, I don't have to respond that way. The question's not a question, and the answer's not an answer. Okay, so it's clear you don't understand. The Shloma bedochik, the ksovar, the mistoma oviv omalo imhu mesuken or in mesuken. There's a presumption that his father would have shared with him if he tied it or didn't tie it. Vim lo natal domov. The father's a chaver. He's a chaver. He understands the problem. He's a chaver, exactly. So if he would have done something or didn't do something, he would have shared it with the son.
The son is not a chaver?
The son's also a chaver.
Right, so why would you...
No, the son. It's not the son. It's not the relationship between the father and this person. The son has no relevance to that person. Has nothing to do with it. What, every chaver knows what's going on in somebody else's house.
But a chaver, regular son with a regular straw, why would we have a problem then?
So that's what we're saying.
Yeah, so
If it would be normally without money, the father, right, he would have shared with it. Being a chaver, he would have shared with his son. Like we say, he's not going to motzi takol mitachas yod. He's not allow a situation to arise which is going to be a pitfall for anybody, right? So how would he prevent that? By informing them what happened. Did he tithe it? Did he not tithe it? Right? Wait, v'imlo natal domov. If he wasn't paid. Rabbi Anavshi l'tzorch atzmo umitkar shomelo oviv. V'imlo mitkar chashvin le b'cheskes mesukon. Yeah. So if he wouldn't have been paid for it, the father may have shared something with the son. He may have shared something in the past. So, if it has relevance to himself, it's on his mind because he's going to be involved with it. He didn't actually create this situation. The father did it, and the father's chaver share it with the son. But do you remember everything your father told you? And only if it comes within your domain, then you say, well, it has relevance to me. But let's say the Yisrael is going to purchase it. So then the person doesn't exert his memory or on a certain subconscious level to recall what his father told him. Because it's like out of sight, out of mind. It has no relevance to me any longer. If it's something that's coming into my domain, so Rami an Nafshe, meaning he has the reason on a subconscious level to recall what his father told him. Because this is something which had relevance to the father. But let's say he's being paid for it. That means it really has no relevance to him. It's staying in the possession of the Yisrael. So therefore, he won't have the same recall to recall what actually happened, what his father told him. So I have to be concerned. Maybe what the father did, maybe he used that as Trumas Maser.
Even though it's a chaver, he would do that.
No, he told him. The father did nothing wrong. Right. The father informed him. But the question is, the father was unaware what's going to happen, that he's going to purchase it. Why did the son recall what the father told him? We said, what do we have to say? He sold it, even if he wouldn't have sold it. No, if he wouldn't have sold it, the father definitely shared it with him. That means that grain is coming into his domain. He would have recalled, because it has relevance to himself, what his father told him. But now that it's not coming into his domain, because the Yisrael is purchasing it, therefore he doesn't recall, because that has no relevance to him. So now we have to be concerned. Maybe the father had converted it, and his father did tell him. So nobody did anything wrong. Right? Vimlo not al doma of Rami and Avshel Tzorchatzmo mitkar shamlo ovi vimlo mitkar. But and if he doesn't recall, chashvin leib cheskes mesukon. Al kshenolto dom tzorchacherim lo Rami and Avshei umitkar. Stop here.